Hello, hello. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Just type in the chat if everything's all clear. Cool. What's up, guys? Yeah, welcome to Reference Lab for Catalonia. So yeah, I just want to show you basically the lines I take and basically how it goes, how I go around the track to try and get the times that I'm getting. Um, First things first about the BMW. So it's a tough car. It understeers like crazy, and I think we've all kind of come to know that. Um, what I'm racing, obviously racing hard. So you can see that in my mileage, I've done quite a bit of mileage with the car. So just bear that in mind. And then my brake bias, because it's such an understeery car, and luckily that there's no tire wear with these laps, I've got my brake bias to -3. So, and a lot of guys are using it to the rear to stop it from sliding, but you really need the car to turn in, especially on a track like this. I was running it at -1, I did try it at -2, I also tried it at -5, but I found that for me the most comfortable spot was to run it at -3. But -2 is also quite nice for the car, just to get it to turn in that little bit, and especially when you want to go out of the corner quicker. I found that was the most comfortable for me. Another thing is, one of the key things with this track is that there's an old F1 saying where you have to enter the corner slow and you have to exit quite quickly, or as fast as you can. So that means going in very slowly and getting on the power as quick as you can so that you come out of the corner quite quick. So that's one of the key things, especially with this track. You'll see that I've got the cones on. I mean, I need the advantage to be quicker than Slayer and Mikhail, so that's why the cones are on, and they're kind of a bit of my references. I don't actually use the points that the cones give me, but they are a bit of a guide for me to brake, especially, and to turn in. Cool, so let's get to the lap. I'm gonna go slowly first so that I can show you exactly where it is I'm turning and braking, and just to show you a bit about the car. So here, if you can get this corner flat, you're gonna get a lot of time coming out of the corner. I think in my fastest lap I made about half a tenth to a tenth, so it is quite key that you get that right. So this car also is quite a high revving car, so if you can hit the limiter as best as you can and then shift at that limiter, then you'll definitely get a lot more out of the car. The first corner here, I try and brake roughly about here. Yes, it's early, I know. But as I said, you're trying to go into the corner quite slow and then come out fast. So what I do is I brake from here, and then I literally trail brake to about that point on my dial. So you can see my brake is just under half, and my accelerators is just a bit up. So I try and trail back into the corner, and I turn from about this point. What's key with these corners also is that you have to ride them. So I always try and hit them at that point there for that one, and then I try and hit this one again at the same point. Some may call it cutting, but at the end of the day you are trying to get a fast lap. With this long right-hander turn 3, you have to hug the corner, and then when you hit roughly this point, you'll feel with the car that it starts straightening somewhat. It feels a lot better that you can accelerate out. So I always half throttle there, half throttle, just so I can keep it in the corner. and then I accelerate out. At this point I brake on those cones, down into second gear, and then I try and keep myself again as tight as I can to this corner until I hit that apex where I can accelerate out again, and then make sure that the car drifts out wide so that you just about touch that curve. Here again I'll brake a little bit early so that I can get the turn in, and I'll shift down into first gear. When I hit this point I'm accelerating and I quickly upshift into second. You'll find that I'll generally be out on the curve over there. Then this corner I'd brake again just a little bit early before those cones, turn in at that point. And what's funny is, I know I said slow in fast out, but with this corner you have to try and ride or carry the speed into the corner and on your way out. You'll find that the exit of that corner is where I generally would get a penalty, and it's just because I'm trying to carry as much speed that the car actually slides out. Then I think this is turn 9. Turn 9 I slightly brake. Generally I'm up into fourth gear from here, and then I'll slightly brake down to third just so that I can get the turn in, try and hit that point and accelerate out again, running as wide as I can onto that curve right there. And then you'd literally just up through the gears as fast as you can down to the last section of the course. At this point I'm braking roughly about here again with the trail brake, the same trail braking as I do at turn 1, something similar to that there, so that you get all the way to where you get to this turning point, and then I lift off the brake. But here what I try and do is I try and feed the throttle so that the car kind of slides and turns in, and then on the exit it's a quick upshift into second so that you basically get the best power you can out of the corner. I'll cut that left-hander, and then this right-hander I shift down into first, and as soon as I get to this point where you see the little sausage curve or the cone, I'm up into second again, and then half throttling it out the corner so that I can go out to the exit like at there. Okay, then from this point I'd brake roughly about here. I'd be in third gear, dropping down into second, and then trying to turn into the corner so that you just about clip the sausage curve and the corner itself. And you'll find with that you'll run out a bit wide here, come to this braking point. I try and brake on the curve. Sometimes I'll brake a little bit before it, and the reason why is that when you come to the final chicane, you really want to try and cut it as much as you can, but obviously not too much that you get a penalty. Okay, so from here I'll drop down into first gear to get it to turn in, cut that curve, and then up into second when I cut the second curve as well. You'll find I'll run out wide onto the sausage curve again, but as I said, when you come to the first corner you want to really try and keep it as flat as you can, so that you can ride out and obviously onto the long straight. Okay, so I'll do a quick lap. I don't know if you'll hear me while doing the lap because the car is quite loud, but just to try and put all those points together and show you what a lap would be around the circuit, or basically in my point of view. A few quick things that I think I didn't mention while doing that is that I know a lot of guys like to be in a higher gear when turning into the corners. I like to quickly drop down into a lower gear, one because it actually snaps the car to turn in, and then shifting up into the higher gear so that it will then obviously get the power out the corner. So just make note of that, and then again also make note of going into the corner slow and then coming out fast. Okay, cool, so let me do a lap for you guys. Forgive me if I go quiet. Cool, so that was a lap around the circuit. As I said, I'll try and do one where it's just basically showing you going slow in, coming fast out. But yeah, that's basically how I try and go around this track. I will make mention, this is also one of my favorite tracks. I've done a lot of laps on it in GTSport. I've done a lot of laps on it in F1. But yeah, it's just a very nice flowy track. It's very nice to get used to. It's also one that's not forgiving, especially when you get it wrong, but yeah, it's one of those tracks that I absolutely love. So I'll quickly do one more lap where I'll explain exactly what I'm doing. I'm hoping you can hear me over the sound of the car, and then yeah, that's basically my reference lap. Cool, so cutting the chicane, up into second, accelerating as flat as I can, taking the corner, running it out wide, revving as high as I can before I shift. Turn 1, braking just before the cones, and then trail braking into the corner. Running onto the curve in turn 1, up into third gear on second corner. Then half throttle for turn 3 until it opens up for me, and I'm flat. Running the car out wide. Turn 4, braking on the cones. Turning into the corner. As it opens up again onto the throttle, running car wide, turn 5, braking on the cones, slow into first gear, then a quick upshift into second just to hold the power, turn 6, 7, second gear, running the corner, accelerating out, turn 9, down into third, riding the corner, accelerating out wide, up in the gears, trail braking into turn 10, half throttle, accelerate, second gear, quick shift, down into first, at the sausage curves, up into second, running out wide, braking early, riding the sausage curve, cutting the chicane, second cutting the chicane again out wide. Ooh. As flat as I can be. Cool. That's a lap of Catalunya, guys. Please, if you can, subscribe to my channel. Trying to obviously get more viewers, more members onto the channel, and yeah, let's just go from there. Hope you guys got some tips from this reference lap, and yeah, I'm hoping to see a lot of us into the 46s. Thanks so much, guys.